Hey, shalom to everybody. I'm back. This is this is Nehemiah Nicholas again, and today I want to talk about understanding our way of life versus the world's way of life. Part two. For those who haven't watched part one, I would definitely recommend you watch it. Now, I want to go over some more things about understanding our way of life versus the world's way of life. Because this world's way of life does not take us to where we need to be with the multi Yah. The first place I want to go over for this second part is Leviticus chapter 11. You know, we've gone over this before, but it doesn't hurt to go over it again. And it reads, and Yah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying to them, speak to the children of Israel, saying, these are the living creatures which you do eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatever has a split hoof, completely divided, chewing the cud among the beasts that you do eat. Only these you do not eat among those that chew the cud, or those that have a split hoof. The camel, because it chews the cud, but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the rabbit, because it chews the cud, but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the hare, because it chews the cud, but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the pig, though it has a split hoof, completely divided, yet does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. Their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you do not touch. They are unclean to you. These you do eat of all that are in the water. Anyone that has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas or in the rivers, that you do eat. But all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, all that move in the waters, or any living being which is in the waters, they are an abomination to you. They are an abomination to you. Of their flesh you do not eat, in their carcasses you abominate. All that have not fins or scales in the waters are an abomination to you. And these you do abominate among the birds. They are not eaten, they are an abomination. The eagle and the vulture, and the black vulture, and the hog, and the falcon after its kind. Every raven after its kind, and the ostrich, and the nighthawk, and the seagull, and the hog after its kind, and the little owl, and the fisher owl, and the great owl, and the white owl, and the pelican, and the in the in the, in the carrion vulture, in the store. the heron after its kind, and the hoofy in the back. All flying insects that creep on all fours is an abomination to you. Only these you do eat of every flying insect that creeps on all fours, those which have joint legs above their feet with which to leap on the earth. These of them you do eat. The arbehu, the arbuhulos, the arbuhulos locust after its kind, and the solim locust after its kind, and the hargalo locust after its kind, and the hagab locust after its kind. But all other flying insects which have 4 feet are an abomination to you. And by these you are made unclean. Anyone touching the carcass of any of them is unclean unto you. And anyone picking up part of the carcass of any of them has to wash his garments and shall be unclean until evening. Every beast that has a split hoof, not completely divided, or does not chew the cud, is unclean unto you. Anyone who touches their carcass is unclean. And whatever goes on its paws among all the creatures that goes on all fours, those are unclean to you. Anyone who touches their carcass is unclean until evening. And he who picks up their carcass has to wash his garments and shall be unclean until evening. They are unclean to you, and these are unclean to you among the creeping creatures that creep on the earth, the mole and the mouse, and the tortured after its kind, and the geekahoo, I mean in the geekahoo, in the land crocodile, in the sand reptile, in the sand lizard, in the chamberlain. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Anyone who touches them when they are dead becomes unclean until evening. And whatever any of them in his dead state falls upon becomes unclean, rather it is any wooden object or garment or skin or sap, any object in which work is done, it is put in water, and it shall be unclean until evening. Then it shall be clean. Any earthen vessel into which any of them falls, rather it is in it, becomes unclean, and you break it. And any of the food which might be eaten on which water comes becomes unclean, and any drink which might be drunk from it becomes unclean. And on whatever any of their carcass falls becomes unclean. In oven or cooking range, it is broken down. They are unclean, and are unclean to you. In a fountain of a well, a collection of water is clean, but whoever touches their carcass is unclean. And when any of their carcass falls on any planting seed which is to be shown, it is clean. But when any water is put on the seed in any part of any such carcass falls on it, it is unclean to you. And when any of the beasts which are yours for food dies, he who touches its carcass becomes unclean until evening. And he who eats of its carcass, has to wash his garment, and shall be unclean until evening. And he who picks up its carcass has to wash his garment, and shall be unclean until evening. And every swarming creature, the one that swarms on the earth, is an abomination. It is not eaten. Whatever crawls on its stomach, and whatever goes on all fours, and whatever has many feet among all swarming creatures, the ones swarming on the earth, these you do not eat, for they are an abomination. Do not make yourselves abominable with any swarming creature, the one swarming, and do not make yourself unclean with them, lest you be defiled by them. For I am Yah, your Elohim, and you shall set yourselves apart, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. And do not defile yourselves with any swarming creature, the ones creeping on the earth, for I am Yah, who is bringing you up out of the land of Mizraim, to be your Elohim, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. This is the Torah of the beast and the birds and every living being, the creeping creature in the waters, and of every being that swarms on the earth, to make a this this distinction distinction I mean distinction between the unclean and the clean, and between the living creature that is eaten and the living creature that is not eaten. Oh yeah. So let's talk about this for a while. Oh, for those who don't know, I have talked about this before and read this before in one of my videos, the clean and unclean laws, though. And those who haven't watched it, though, I have talked about it definitely went to this scripture right here, because it's definitely important that we don't eat, that we obey the Most High Yah, and telling us the things that we can and cannot eat. And this is our way of life, though, right here. This is what we're supposed to be doing right here. We're not. These are things we're not supposed to eat, and things that we are supposed, that is okay to eat. And even also talks about in verse 33, where it says any earthen vessel in which any of them falls, rather it is in it becomes unclean and you break it. So even things can become unclean based off these incense right here. And this telling me right here, you're supposed to break it down. And no, this might be extreme now, because this may not be something we are used to now in this world now, because to this world this seems like it's brand new now. This was our way of life, though. This is what we're supposed to be doing. No people, there's people out there who get offended now because when you try to bring this dinner and go, and all one, why are we always talking about the Bible so much? Because this is our way of life now. If we want to be a part of the remnant, we are gonna we are gonna do what we need to do what we need to do in getting closer to the Most High, yeah. Which meaning that you should not be presumptuously sin, because there are consequences for your actions when you don't keep His commandments. But this is our way of life right here. It's telling us we are unclean when we eat unclean food, and this is an abomination, which means it's a serious offense to the Most High, yeah. And when you read in Isaiah 66, that is talking about judgment day. Most High Yah saying He is going to judge those that are eating pork, any of these animals. That may not, but it tells you though. It tells you right there if you eat about eating a pig or the mouse, these things that are unclean. Most High Yah is going to judge us for that. And don't get me wrong, you gonna judge everybody though. Whether we deal with was right or wrong. And those that are right though will be a part of the remnant. Because the world has they know what we've been taught though in this world. They tell us that we gonna go to heaven now. That's what they taught us. We're gonna go to heaven and this stuff. But then when they say when you're being put to death, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna burn in the lake of fire forever. But when you read Isaiah 66, which I will go to that now, that's gonna show right there that did not say we're gonna be going into no lake of fire. We're gonna burn forever. It does not say that yet. I know they got that from the New Testament now. But that is right there is a contradiction right there in the New Testament. I just do not believe for a moment that you're gonna burn in the lake of fire forever. I just don't believe it. It does say you'll be put to death though when He judges you, but I just don't. This is not the way the world says. I'm just not gonna believe. Yeah, in the first part of understanding our way of life, though, I have also mentioned about the pagan holidays. I went over a few though, and why you should not be celebrating. And I might go over the rest later in this video, so I might do that. Yeah, it's important to understand our way of life. There's even the Most High Yah tells us we're not supposed to come to Him in kind of way. We're supposed to be clean when we come before Him. Because we have to think to ourselves though, if we as human beings don't want a person come before us any kind of way, how much more do you think the Most High Yah will want us to come before? The one who gave us life now, and the one who can take our breath away. Yes, we don't want to play with that now. We had this thing. Well, you you can't judge me now. And they try to tell you that though. And they try to say, well, you don't judge a book by its cover. Though. Yeah, that's what they try to state that no, you can't judge me, don't know. But then in reality, that's what they're doing now. So they going against that saying that they had now. It was like and then if you read in Leviticus 19, you go there in verse 15 now. Here we start at verse. Here start verse 15 through 18. And it reads, do no unrighteousness in right rule. Do not be partial to the poor or favor the face of the great, but rightly rule your neighbor in righteousness. Do not go slandering among your people. Do not stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am Yah. Do not hate your brother in your heart. Reprove your neighbor for certain, and bear no sin because of him. Do not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yah. Hallelujah. So, as it, do no unrighteousness and right wrong, which means judgment. No, my version says different now. The KJV was saying, I believe, judgment. No, and it's telling us right here that there is a way you can judge, but there's a way but there's a way to judge. It's supposed to do it righteously, and unfortunately, in this world, in most of the world now, they judge. They are very harsh with their judgment. And you got a lot of partiality in this world too, which is also the Most High Yah tells us it's not good to show partiality. So that right there goes against our way of life right there. Because if you are showing partiality, I'm sorry, you cannot say you are keeping Yah's commandments and you are showing partiality. You can't say that now. So yeah, it's just because that's is because you're basically being partial to the law. You're picking and choosing which basically picking and choosing which who you're gonna correct them when they are in the wrong. But other people you correct them, but as soon as the one that you may be close to, all of a sudden now nothing is being done about it. They're not saying nothing. Something like that. That's partiality right there. Something like that. The Most High Yah does not show partiality. So why are we doing? Why do why do why do we do that? And, and, and that's one of the biggest things in this world right here is they do show partiality. And also about we're not supposed to be slandering one another. We have a lot of that now going on now. People going on the internet slandering people, social media or whatever the case or even or even doing it in public places now. You're supposed to go to your brother and sister if there is an issue now. But unfortunately that's not what happens now. When you have a person now who who um whose intention is not good. It says, "Do not hate your brother in your heart. Reprove your neighbor for certain and bear no sin because of it." We're obligated right here to rebuke our neighbor. If they are in the wrong about something, we are obligated to correct them. You know, nobody is above correction if they are in the wrong. And that's something we have to keep in mind. Unfortunately, we have people that don't like to get corrected because then that's what they say. You can't judge me now. You don't tell me how to be now. That's what we get. I'm not saying you should be around and trying to control that person's life though. I'm not saying that though, but we have to be we have to realize that this is the Most High Yah that we're gonna have to. Most High Yah is gonna be the one to deal with us according to how we are. So if a person is correcting you, we should be grateful and saying thank you. Yeah, I need to get that right. Let me not do this again. Cause that's showing right there you care for one another. You know, care about your brother and sister. You're not just trying to tell you, not trying to just control you though. Well, at least I'm not though. I'm not. I'm trying. I want the best for my people. You know, that's what I. That's my purpose though. No, not everybody's intentions are pure though. So yeah, that's really my. That's why I'm on here teaching about our way of life because this is our way of life. This is what we're supposed to be doing. Oh, if we read in verse 19 of Leviticus 19, it says, "Guard my laws. Do not let your livestock mate with another kind. Do not sow your field with mixed seed, and do not put a garment woven of two sorts of thread upon you." So, yeah. Let's see if I'm. Let's see if I want to make sure I had this right. I don't want to take away from scripture though, because the Bible tells us not to do that. Let's see. So I think we're just it's really talking about mixing over here, not to mix it. So I think that's what we're discussing right here. This is also important that this be talked about though. Because I think this is also an example of you're not supposed to sow your field with mixed seed. No, you're not supposed to. But unfortunately, we know the world. You know, you have this world though that kind of have natural and unnatural seeds though that they mix though together. That's stuff. That's the stuff that be happening in the world. You just know the Most High Yah is going to deal with everybody accordingly. You do not put a garment woven of two sorts of thread upon you though. So yeah, we even have to be mindful of our clothing now, because I think this is the scripture, if I'm not mistaken, that where it shows us we're not supposed to be wearing mixed clothing now. Because this is our way of life now. Because about teaching us what the way of life, our way of life, what's right and what's wrong. So yeah, this is serious, and Yah is not playing with us. So yeah, he has had a lot of mercy on us. So while we are still here, yeah, we can't. But yeah, if we're saying we want a relationship with the Most High here, we gotta be willing to do whatever we can to get close to the Most High here. Not get us uncomfortable now because we feel like if we do this, then we can't do what we want to do. Well, that's the whole purpose. Though. We always want to be about our feelings, and well, what about the Most High Yah's feelings? That's something we have to ask. So yeah, this thought I point that out. Let's see. Yeah, you better not play the Most High Yah because I mean, yeah, this is our way of life right here. Let's see. What's the next place I want to go over? I want to make sure I, I, I get to where I need to be. Okay, yeah, another thing to yeah, let's talk. So when we stay in Leviticus 19 in verse 27, let's see, in yeah, 27 and 28 now. And it says, do not round the corner of your head, nor destroy the corner of your beard, and do not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor put tattoo marks on you. I am yeah, hungry, yeah. So yeah, this is telling us right here as men now, because that's who it's talking about. This is the law for men now. For us men now. You're not supposed to round the corner of our head, nor destroy the corner of your beard. Now, says we are supposed to, as men, we're supposed to have, we're supposed to have long hair as men. But this world, on the other hand, wants to make you believe that as a man, that you should have short hair. That's what the world wants. Don't need, you supposed to have your hair cut. Though. That's what the world makes us believe. I stopped getting a haircut about 5 years ago. I haven't had a haircut by since. Though. It's been about 5 years now since I had me a haircut. Sometimes I want to let my hair grow. My hair neat. I want my hair to be long. I don't want no short. I don't want short hair though, because that is not our way of life. We are supposed to grow our hair as men. We're not supposed to be shaving our beards or balding our heads. That is the sin against the Most High Yah. When we do that, no. It's just to point that out, though, which I know is uncomfortable for people because people want to. Unfortunately, there's still people out there who want to do what they want to do. I would say for your sake, you need to change your ways. Though. And even put with the tattoos that I read. You don't need to be putting tattoo marks in you with sticking yourself with needles or whatever the case may be. You're not supposed to be doing to put tattoos all over your arms and body. No, that is not what we're supposed to do. Y'all telling us right there we're not to not do that. So yeah, we're not supposed to do that right there. This is our way of life right here. And as I talked about before, that we're not supposed to be practicing no witchcraft. No, we're not supposed to be doing it over there with the wand, having the hat, putting the hat down. No, putting something in the hat and then with a wand or practicing magic. No, we're not supposed to do that. That's the way of this world. No. That is not how what we're supposed to do. I know I had talked about that before because that is a sin that you can get put to death when you are doing witchcraft, which is an which is a serious offense to the Most High Yah. See, yeah, Yah's not playing with us now. Because even our way of life is even telling us that we're not supposed to allow certain nations to be in the assembly of the congregation, be of the congregation. In which I'm gonna go to that as well. Because I know people try to make it feel like when we talk about this that this is discrimination. Though. This is the Most High Yah's word, though. So, do you really think that our feelings matter more than the Most High Yah's? Yeah, Most High Yah is not playing with us. So we'll read Deuteronomy 23 now. It says, he who is wounded by crushing of tensils or whose penis is cut off shall not enter into the community of Yah. So if you have this going on now, as a man now, you cannot you're not supposed to be in the place of Yah, supposed to be in the congregation of the Most High Yah. You're not supposed to be there now. You're not supposed to enter if you have this happen. It doesn't matter which nation it is. That's for everybody. It's saying he though. That's me, every man. Which every man not even allowed to come there anyway. No, not every man is supposed to be there though. And I'm not trying to say nobody shouldn't be there though. That's not what I'm trying to say though. I'm trying to say that it's not meant for everybody to be. But when you read verse 2, it says a a Muzara shall not enter the community of Yah. Even a 10th generation of his shall not enter the community of Yah. Is it a Memsura? Let's see. Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me look this up. Make sure I understand what this is saying. What this is. Because I need to make sure I know what I need to make sure I kind of explain what this is now because we need to understand. We need to have understand. Make sure we have understanding what we are reading. Let's see what this means because I need to make sure I understand. All right, let's see. Okay, so a memsura refers to a person born from a forbidden, unchaste unchasteness or adulterous relation, often translated as a bastard or estranged person. It specifically denotes a child born from a union that is prohibited under biblical law, not merely a child born out of wedlock. Okay, just to have understanding of what this is, but it's telling you we're not supposed to be when that person is not supposed to enter the community or the assembly of Yah. That's what this is saying. In verse 3, an Amorite or Moabite shall not enter the assembly of Yah. Even a 10th generation of them shall not shall not ever enter the assembly of Yah. So it's telling you right here, an Amorite or a Moabite, they should not be entered in the assembly of Yah. This is what the Bible is saying. Though this ain't my words. Though. It ain't me just choosing to not to welcome everybody. Like the world want to tell you that when they themselves don't do that. They don't welcome everybody. We be treated like crap in this world, unfortunately. But all right, let's see. Where I need to go next? All right, in verse 7 now, when you skip down to verse 7, it says, do not loathe an Edomite, for he is your brother. Do not loathe a Mizraite, because you were a stranger in his land. Hmm. Do not loathe an Edomite, for he is your brother. Let's see. Make sure I kind of understand this though, because I mean, it does. It says what it says. So let's see. E- I think is it Esau? Which isn't Edomite Esau? No, because yeah, it says do not loathe Edomite, for he is your brother. Isn't this the nation that the Most High Yah hates? Okay, so it says in verse 8, the children of the third generation born to them do enter the assembly of Yah. Okay, so looks like so they can come. Okay, so they can come in the assembly. Okay. Well, if it says they can come, then yeah, hey, I welcome that. When the camp goes out against your enemies, then you shall guard yourself from every evil matter. When there is any man among you who is not clean because of an emission in the night, then he shall go outside the camp. Let him not come into the midst of the camp. And it shall be at the approach of evening that he bathes with water. And when the sun sets, let him come into the midst of the camp. As you see, it's telling you that he's not supposed. Oh, if a man is unclean, he's not supposed to come into the midst of the camp. But yet, this world, you know, teaches us and tells us we can come. It does, and try to say it doesn't matter. Come as you are. But this is not what the Bible is saying. It's telling that if for a man who was unclean because of an emission in the night, or a man if he has that that wet dream where he gets unclean. But yeah, so that's what this is saying now. You're not supposed to be in the midst of a camp, but he's supposed to bathe his body in water, which is before the sun, just before the sun goes down. Now that's when he supposed to bathe. And when it says when the sun set, let him come into the midst of the camp because he's clean. He's supposed to he's really supposed to take your bath before the sun goes down. That's what this is saying. Now when it goes down, then he is clean. He can come into the camp. But yeah, it's important that we know these things though. It is it is mainly supposed to be us that needs to know this. And we are also supposed to teach the other nations too. We're supposed to be a light to the Gentiles though. Yeah, it's definitely not to say that no other nation should know it because they should. Now, we're supposed to teach them. But the Most High Yah has not dealt so with any other nation like he has dealt with us as Israel. So, okay. So now when we read in verse 19 through let's see, verse 19. Let's do 19 to 25. Yeah, let's just go. And it says, do not lend at interest to your brother, interest of silver, interest of food, or interest of whatever is lent at interest. So let's stop right there for a minute. Now, it's telling us right here, we're not supposed to be lending at interest, though. We're not supposed to charge our brother and sister. You know how this world goes, where you may be and people may be borrowing money now these days, and then they may but they may lend you the money. You may ask the person for money because you may need it now, whatever it may be, whether it be food or whatever it is now. But it's telling us we're not supposed to charge interest now to our brother now and sister. And that's what unfortunately is happening. That is against the law when we're doing it. When we have a brother and sister that is in need, we are definitely supposed to help them, but we're not supposed to be charging them if we want to get paid back. If you want to get paid back, that's fine, though, but you're not supposed to charge with interest, though. That is against the law of the Most High. Yeah. And we need to understand this, that we don't need to be doing this stuff. Yeah, this is in verse 20, and it says, to a foreigner you lend at interest, but to your brother you do not lend at interest, so that Yah your Elohim might bless you in all that you put your hand to in the land which you are entering to possess. Hey, it's what the Bible says. So it's saying to a foreigner, you can lend at interest now, but to your brother you do not. No, this may not be people. They may not like that because but this is what the Most High God says. This is His law. So it is what it is. In verse 21, when you make a vow to Yah your Elohim, do not delay to pay it, for Yah your Elohim is certainly requiring it of you, and it shall be seen in you. But when you estrange from vowing, it is not seen in you. That which has gone from your lips, you shall guard and do, for you voluntarily vow to Yah your Elohim what you have promised with your mouth. Well, yeah, just to stop right there for a while. Most High Yah is telling us that if we are making that vow to Him now, we are supposed to keep that. That is a sin, because It is not to be played with them. Because if we are making a vow to a person now, you know that even if you break that vow, that still is a sin though, because then you still lying though. But how much so do you think how much so do you think it is if you do it with the most high? Yeah. You are supposed to you are supposed to keep your word now. You're supposed to keep your word, period, no matter who the vow it is. Now. But especially the most high. Yeah. Even if it's a person, you are supposed to keep your word. Because that still is the sin if you're breaking it with a person. Because then you lied once you broke that promise. That's called a lie. So you still sin either way. But it's just even you really just don't want to play when you making a vow to the most high. Yeah. In verse 24, when you come into your neighbor's vineyard, you shall eat to your satisfaction of your desire, but do not put any of a replica, repli- replica of yours. When you come into your neighbor's standing grain, you shall pluck the heads with your hand, but do not use a sickler on your neighbor's standing grain. Hallelujah. Oh, okay. Let's see, what does that mean? I need to make sure I understand what this means. Let me look it up because I need to make sure I understand what this means. Yeah, let me see. Oh, okay. So it's saying it means that when the Israelite enters a neighbor's vineyard, they were allowed to eat as many grapes as they wanted to satisfy their, their immediate hunger, but they were not permitted to harvest them, store them in a container, or take them home. Okay. Well, that makes sense though, because that would be stealing though. That would be considered stealing right there. You're not even supposed to you're not permitted to harvest them, like make it seem like it's kind of yours. So I guess that's what they're saying. It's basically it's also you don't want to you don't want to take advantage of a person that is kind enough to use let you in their vineyard though. Because then when you do that that now that's gonna be a huge conflict though, right there though. You know how that can be though. That's what's called conflict though. And we're supposed to be doing things righteously anyway. And unfortunately, I can definitely believe that this happens a lot now. Because there's a lot of wicked people. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Do not use a sickler on your neighbor. Let's see. What is that? So I'm gonna make sure I'm understanding this though. Okay, so this allows travelers to pluck grain by hand for immediate hunger, but prohibits using tools to harvest for profit. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. This law balances personal stuff substance with protection of private property rights. Okay. Using tools to harvest for profit. Yeah, basically money. Yeah. So okay. All kind of stuff that people would do that the most high God tells us not to do. This is a command right here. All right, so when we go to Deuteronomy 24 in verse 10 through, let's see, I think 10 through 15 is good for now. Yeah, so Deuteronomy 24, verse starting at verse 10, and it reads, when you lend your brother a loan, do not go into his house to get his pledge. Stand outside and let the man to whom you lend bring the pledge out to you. And if the man is poor, do not sleep with his pledge. By all means, return the pledge to him at sundown, and he shall sleep in his own garment and shall bless you. And it shall be righteousness to you before Yah, your Elohim. Do not oppress a hired servant who is poor in need of your brothers or of your strangers who are in your land within your gates. Give him his wages on the same day, and do not let the sun go down on it, for he is poor and lifts up his being to it, so that he does not cry out against you to Yah, and it shall be a sin in you. Hallelujah. Oh, let's talk about this one for a minute now. Where this world is so jacked up now. Because here's the thing, what I noticed that happens a lot now. When people are borrowing things now, they are supposed to return that thing the same day. They're not supposed to wait, no. They're not supposed to wait the next day a week, a month, or a year, or what. That is not. That is right there is considered a sin when we do that. You saying you borrow it, but you gonna sit there and keep it now. And then some people, there's people who return stuff when they feel like it's there's no use in it. When they can't use nothing, they return it when it's like broken. That is unacceptable. It's like you're stealing now. That's basically what it's like. Because you're saying you're borrowing it, yeah, and they let you have it, but you're supposed to give it to them the same day, and you're supposed to give it back before the sun goes in. Unless that person said that it is okay for you to keep it now, and they just lend it to you, because there's a difference between lending and borrowing. If they just lend it to you, lending right there, they lend it to you. That means they probably may not want it back. But if you are saying you asking, can I borrow this stuff? You're supposed to give that back before the sun goes down. But unfortunately, in this world, we're not being taught this. People just basically give it back when they want to give it back. Unfortunately, most people. But you're supposed to, by law, give it back before the sun goes in. Because then that becomes a sin right there. It's kind of like stealing, though, basically, though. That's kind of what it's like. All right, let's see. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. Let's read the rest of the verses, though. 16 through 22. So when it reads in Deuteronomy 24, verse 16, it says, fathers are not put to death for their children, and children are not put to death for their fathers. Each is to die for his own sin. Everybody is responsible for their own sins, though. That's to be clear. There is nobody can die for you, though. You are responsible for your own sin. Now, when I mean nobody, that is nobody. So where did they get this that JC dies for the sins of this world? That right there, that contradicts what this just said right there. So why do we believe in JC so hardly that he dies for the sins of his work? Just to point that out though. In verse 17, do not twist the right ruling of a stranger or the fatherless, nor take the garment of a widow. That you shall remember that you were a slave in Mizraim, and that Yah your Elohim ransomed you from death. Therefore, I am commanding you to do this work. When you reap your harvest in your field and have forgotten a sheaf in the field, do not go back to get it, lest it be for the stranger, for the fatherless. and for the widow, so that Yah, your Elohim, might bless you in all the work of your hand. When you beat your olive trees, do not examine the branch behind you. Let it be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, do not glean behind you. Let it be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Mizraim. Therefore, I am commanding you to do this work. Hallelujah. This is the law right here. Oh yeah, we about to get deep. We got to get more and more deep into this stuff. We got a lot to talk about here. Still a lot left. So, okay. In Deuteronomy 25, you see how far do I want to reach? Should I read the whole chapter? Let me see. I'm gonna start at verse 1. Let's see if I need to read the whole. In Deuteronomy 25, verse 1, when there is a dispute between men, then they shall come into judgment, and they shall be judged. And the righteous declare righteous, and the wrongdoer declare wrong, or the wicked doer declare wicked. And it shall be, if the wrongdoer is to be struck, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and be struck in his presence with the number of blows according to his wrong. 40 strikes he gives him, but no more, lest he strike him with many more blows than these, and your brother be disgraded before your eyes. Do not muzzle an ox while it is threshing. When brothers dwell together, and one of them has died and has no son, the widow of the dead man shall not become a stranger outside. Her husband's brother does go in to her, and shall take her as his wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. So this is saying right there for the brother is supposed to. It's saying the brother does go into her now when the when the when her husband had died. So then his brother should go in. That's what this is saying. Not supposed to do it while he is alive, though, because then that will be adultery. That will be the sin, though, otherwise. But when he dies, though, and this is what it said: when brothers dwell together, and one of them has died and has no son, the widow of the dead man shall not become a stranger outside. So it's saying it should not become her husband's brother does. So this is what this is saying now. But we need to make sure we understand this stuff. This is our way of life, but we are not being taught these things in this world. Let's continue in verse 6. And it shall be that the firstborn son which she bears does rise up for the name of his dead brother, so that his name is not blotted out of Israel. But if the man does not desire to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gates to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name to his brother in Israel. He does not agree to perform the duty of my husband's brother. The elders of his city shall then call him and speak to him, and he shall stand and say, I have no desire to take her. And his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders and remove his sandal from his foot, and shall spit in his face and answer and say, thus it is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. And in Israel his name shall be called the house of him who had his sandal removed. When men fight with one another, a man and his brother, and the wife of one shall draw near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one striking him, and shall put out her hand and take hold of him by the gentle. Then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye does not part. You shall not have in your bag differing weights, a heavy and a light. You should not have in your house different measures, a large and a small. You shall have a perfect and right weight, a perfect and right measure, so that they prolong your days on the soil which Yah your Elohim is giving. I think that's land, that soil here. For all who do these things, for all who do these, and all who do unrighteously are an abomination to Yah your Elohim. Yeah, let's go ahead and finish the rest. Remember what Amalek did to you on the way as you were coming out of Mizraim, how he met you on the way and attacked your back, all the feeble ones in your rear, when you were tired and weary, and he did not fear Elohim. Therefore it shall be when Yah your Elohim has given you rest from your enemies all around, in the land which Yah your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance, and you blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens. Do not forget. Hallelujah. Yeah, this is something right here. As you see, is right here saying that when the when her husband of this woman now dies, though, then the husband's brother is supposed to go into her. That's what this is saying. That's not what happened. That's not what's happening in this world now. It be someone else that end up going into her when she is a widow. But that's how it's supposed to be done. And this right here is telling for the sisters that you're not supposed to you're not supposed to hit a man down there. That's what this is saying though, for the sisters though. And you was that if we were in our land, your hand would have been cut off though, if you were to hit a man down there. Of course, we know who. So this is what this is saying right here. But as you see in the one verse 1 and 2, it's telling you how that it's showing that they were judges though, but they were righteous judges though. Not like today, though. Not like today though. Yeah, just no, this may be uncomfortable for people, but this needs to be talked about. We need to understand our way of life, and no longer do that we get away from this world's way of life. All right, let's see. In Deuteronomy 26. Okay, let me see. How far I'm gonna go here. Okay, let me make sure. All right, so in Deuteronomy 26, starting at verse 11. Actually, let's start at verse 10, actually. And it reads, and now see, I have brought the first fruits of the land which you, O Yah, have given me. Then you shall place it before Yah your Elohim, and bow down before Yah your Elohim, and shall rejoice in all the good which Yah your Elohim has given to you in your house, you and the Levite, and the Levite, and the stranger who was among you. When you had completed tithing all the tithe of your increase in the third year, which is the year of tithing, and have given it to the Levite, to the stranger, to the fatherless, and to the widow, and they have eaten within your gates, and have been satisfied. Then you shall say before Yah your Elohim, I have put away the set apart portion from my house, and also have given it to the Levite, and to the stranger, and to the fatherless, and to the widow, according to all your command which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commands, nor have I forgotten. Well, let's just stop right there for a minute. Okay, so now this right here is talking about time. According to here, this is showing you right here that tithes is food right there, and it tells you what it was for. Now, who was oh, it was for the Levite, the stranger, fatherless, and widow. That was the purpose of the tithes right there. And this was food. Now, it is not money. That is the world's way of life. So when we have these pastors that went trying to say, don't try to say don't forget tithes and offerings, and try to say that if you don't pay your tithes and offerings, you are going to hell, as they say. Tithes and offerings is not money; it's food. It was not for us to be collecting it. No, it was for the Levite, stranger, fatherless, and the widow. That's what it was for. And it was food. Not no money now where you over there making millions off of people who barely struggling to who struggle to even pay their bills now. It is that is not our that is not what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be over there collecting tithes. So as they say now. And tithes is not money. See, but Yah is gonna deal with that now. He gonna deal with those who are lying to the people now and making merchandise. He is gonna deal with them. But in verse 14, I have not eaten any of it when in mourning, nor have I removed any of it for any unclean use, nor given any of it for the dead. I have obeyed the voice of Yah, my Elohim. I have done according to all that you have commanded me. Look from your set apart dwelling place from the heavens and bless your people Israel in the land which you have given us, as you swore to our fathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. Today, Yah your Elohim is commanding you to do these laws and right rules, that you shall guard and do them with all of your heart and with all of your being. You have today caused Yah to proclaim to be your Elohim and to walk in his ways and to guard his laws, in his commands, in his right rulings, and to obey his voice. And Yah has caused you to proclaim today to be his people, a treasure, your possession, as he has spoken to you, and to guard all his commands, so as to set you high above all nations which he has made, for a praise and for a name, and for even for esteem, and for you to be a set apart people to Yah your Elohim, as he has spoken. Hallelujah. Yeah. Just to, this is I know this is deep now, but this stuff needs to be talked about. And I still have a lot more to talk about. I still have a lot left. Let's see, where do I want to go to next? All right. Let's see. All right. Hmm. Make sure. All right. All right. Let's go. So when we go to Deuteronomy 21, this is getting really uncomfortable. I know for those who are watching this, I know this is getting really uncomfortable. This is gonna be really uncomfortable right here. In Deuteronomy 21, let's see. Okay, what verse do I want to start? All right, let's start at verse 10. And it reads, when you go out to fight against your enemies, and Yah your Elohim shall give them into your hand, and you shall take them captive, and shall see among the captives a woman fair of form, and shall delight in her, and take her for your wife. Then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. Okay? And put aside the mantle of her captivity, and shall dwell in your house, and mourn her father and her mother a month of days. And after that you shall go in to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it shall be, if you are not pleased with her, then you shall let her go at her desire. But you do not sell her at all for silver. Do not treat her harshly, since you have humbled her. When a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both the loved and the unloved, and the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, then it shall be on the day he makes his sons to inherit his possession. He is not allowed to treat the son of the beloved wife as firstborn in the face of the son of the unloved, who is truly the firstborn. But he is to acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. Okay, so let's stop right there for a minute. So as you see, this right here is telling us that a man can have more than one wife. In this world, if a man has more than one wife, he can go to jail now, and they call it bigamy. It says right here that it says right here that he can have more than one wife. But in this world, they could arrest you now. They can arrest you for that if you get caught doing it with more than one wife. Now I wouldn't recommend it. No, I wouldn't recommend a man having another wife. Mainly because you don't want to deal with this world now have arresting you. But then even in that now, you need to be able to make sure you take care of the wives now, because you're supposed to still rather you have a wife that you love more than the other. You're still supposed to acknowledge that you're not supposed to neglect her. You're supposed to take care and do what you're supposed to do as a husband. If you're gonna have more than one wife, that's this is our way of life though. But we're supposed to do things in righteousness, even with that now, even with the man having more than one wife. And he tells you in verse 14, you're not supposed to treat her harshly. Oh, 10, you're not supposed to men ain't supposed to be mistreating his wife. No, that is not. It's telling you you're not supposed to do that. But to continue though, in verse 18 though, when a man has a wayward and rebellious son who is not listening to the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and who, when they have disciplined him, does not listen to them, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his city, to the gate of his city, and shall say to the elders of his city, this son of ours is wayward and rebellious. He is not listening to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunk. Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death with stones. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst, and let all Israel hear and fear. And when a man has committed a sin worthy of death, then he shall be put to death, and you shall hang him on a tree. Let his body not remain overnight on the tree, for you shall certainly bury him the same day. For he who was hung is a curse of Elohim, so that you do not defile the land which Yah your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. Hallelujah. So, okay, let's talk about this for a moment or a while. So, this is why Most High Yah playing with us. Now. This is the consequences when a child is being rebellious to their parents now, and just refuse to listen no matter what the parent tries to do. Just refuse to listen. Just right here, someone if we were in our land, that that son would that son would be put to death now. you will be put to death of being rebellious stuff if we were in our land. So that's kind of unheard of now for a child to be rebellious stuff to their parents. So then unfortunately in this world, as I kind of talked, I think a little bit earlier about how this system has it though. If the father or mother is called disciplining, they say beat him now, beat that child now. Then they say try to say that's child abuse and they can arrest it. But this is our way of life. That is the parents are supposed to discipline their child when they are in the wrong. Because there's a difference between discipline and just an abuse. So there's a complete difference. Discipline is when their child has done something wrong, and then the parent is beats them if they had to beat them. Not to say that discipline always requires a beating down. No. Requires getting whipped, no, a whipping. No. But if necessary, they may have to. While abuse, on the other hand, is beating them for no reason. No. That's abuse right there. We're not. That's a total different thing right there. Even and so, even with the it's saying not let his body not remain overnight on the tree. Of course, that does happen. Though, what it's telling you here, not this that's not supposed to happen. With the being on him hung on the tree. Of course, they try to say that this so-called Christ person died for our sins. He was nailed. They say nailed to the cross or even hung on a tree. Now, that's what this is saying, which is this that's what being said in the New Testament, being hung on a tree. No, no, and this stuff right here, which is has nothing to do with our way of life, though, as there is no Christ, though. There is no Christ, though. Yes, and I had mentioned in the first part of the video that I had talked about the first part of the other video, no, about Saint Patrick, that as they say that he was the one that started Christianity. That's what they say. But anyway, to move on from that. Okay, so in Deuteronomy 22, let's see how far I'm gonna get. Okay, so let's see. I think I might go with the whole chapter of Deuteronomy 27. All right, so it reads in Deuteronomy 22, verse 1. When you see your brother's ox or his sheep straying away, you should not hide yourself from them. Return them to your brother without fail. And if your brother is not near you, or if you do not know him, then you shall bring it to your own house, and it shall be with you until your brother seeks it. Then you shall return it to him. And so you do with his donkey, and so you do with his garment, and so you do with whatever your brother loses, which he has lost and you have found. You are not allowed to hide yourself. When you see your brother's donkey or its ox falling down on the way, you shall not hide yourself from them. Help him, raise them without fail. A woman does not wear that which pertains unto a man, nor does a man put on a woman's garment. For whoever does this is an abomination to Yah, your Elohim. Which I think that's pretty clear now. Not supposed to be wearing nothing. Woman not supposed to wear what pertains to a man, or a man not supposed to put on a woman's garment, which we already, which that's plain and clear. Anyway, when you come upon a bird's nest along the way, in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, with the mother sitting on the young or on the eggs, do not take the mother with the young. Let the mother go without fail, and take the young for yourself, so that it might be well with you, and that you shall prolong your days. When you build a new house, then you shall make a par a parapet for your roof, so that you do not bring blood guilt on your house when one fails, when one falls, from it. Do not sow your field with different kinds of seed, lest the yield of the seed which you have sown in the fruit of your vineyard be defiled. Do not plunge with an ox and a donkey together. Do not put on a garment of different kinds of wool and linen together. And you see, need to be 100% what we're wearing now, our garments. Make tassels on the four corners of the garment with which you cover yourself. When any man takes a wife, it shall go in to her, it shall hate her, it shall make abusive charges against her, and bring an evil name on her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I did not find her a maiden. Then the father and mother of the young woman shall take and bring out the proof of the girl's maidenhood to the elders of the city at the gate. And the girl's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as wife, and he hates her. And see, he has made abusive charges against her, saying, I did not find your daughter a maiden. And yet these are the proofs of my daughter's maidenhood. And they shall spread the garment before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and punish him. So as you can see right here, there is consequences though for lying, because that right there, whether if it was malicious or not, there's still consequences now. You don't want to falsely accuse a woman as a man. Don't want to falsely accuse. There is consequences, guys. He does not get away with that. That's it's saying right here. He's gonna get punished for it. In verse 19, and find him 100 pieces of silver, and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought an evil name on a maiden of Israel, and she is to be his wife. He is not allowed to put her away all his days. Yeah, this is some punishment right here. So it's saying he got to pay for it now. So this is what should happen now if we're in our land now, when this happens. So it's telling you why she's to be his wife. He doesn't have a choice. You know what I mean? Most of y'all don't does not play them. This is how things are supposed to be. But if the matter is true that the girl was not found a maiden, then they shall bring out the girl to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done wickedness in Israel, to whore in her father's house. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. Yeah, it's really saying that a woman is supposed to be a virgin, before marriage, before she marries a man. That's what this is saying. She's supposed to be a virgin. That, as you know, you have this world where this world kind of this world way of like teach these women to go and just date as many as they want now, and you just it's not the way of Yah. That's not what the Most High Yah said. Yeah, this is consequences. So this needs to be taught, even though this is uncomfortable. Which is why this should not. That's why this should not be dated. There should not be no boyfriend and girlfriend. That is not our way of life. That is the world. They taught us that stuff. Because now it's became a game. We need to get out of this world's way of life and start doing what the Most High Yah wants us to do. You know, people don't like this though. But this needs to be said. In verse 22, when a man is found lying with a woman married to a husband, then both of them shall die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. Thus you shall purge the evil from Israel. When a girl who is a maiden is engaged to a husband, and a man finds her in the city and lies with her, then you shall bring them both out of the gate of that city, and shall stone them to death with stones. The girl, because she did not cry out in the sick, and the man, because he has humbled his neighbor's wife. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. But if a man finds the girl who is engaged in the field, and the man takes hold of her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. That you shall do no matter to the girl. The girl has no sin worthy of death. For the matter is like a man who rises against his neighbor and murders him. A being. For he found her in the field, and she cried out, then engaged her, but without anyone to save her. Yeah, basically, he be raping her. He like forcing himself on the woman. Yeah, that's right there. So, yeah, he's supposed to be put to death. But if she did not cry out, then she would have been she was to be put to death. Oh, this is what this is saying. When a man finds a girl who is a maiden who is not engaged, and he sees her and lies with her, and they are found out, then the man who lay with her shall give to the girl's father 50 pieces of silver, and she is to be his wife, because he has humbled her. He is not allowed to put her away all his days. A man does not take his father's wife, nor uncover his father's skirt. Hallelujah. Serious stuff right here. Oh, it tells you how it's supposed to be now. This is what how it's supposed to be if they do not if they are not husband and wife though before they do what you know. You should have gotten married before you did the thing though. You don't want to have to pay the price though. And to pay for it though. This is showing what it's supposed to be if you do if the if they that's what happens though. If they have intercourse before marriage. But unfortunately, this world doesn't teach that. There's you have a lot of incidents where the woman she was a virgin now, but then the man they do the man and the woman they do the intercourse now, and as known as they have sex now, as we know now. Before marriage now, before they be husband and wife now. But then this right here is telling you that she is supposed to be his wife because he is humble. He is not allowed to put her away all his days. But then what be happening in this world when the man has done the thing, then he want to say, "Well, I'm not ready now." You're supposed to marry her. Well, I'm not ready for that. No, that's wrong. You're supposed to know. So the Most High Yah holds that man accountable for that. No, for when the women do become a hoarder, it's the man's fault. It just is what it is. Bible tells you what we're supposed to do. If you're gonna have the intercourse before marriage, then you supposed to you need to get married. If you're gonna have the intercourse stuff, this thing need to give 50 pieces of silver, and that she's supposed to be your wife. You already did the thing, so you're supposed to do. Can't put her away, by law, If you do, there are consequences. This is some serious stuff right here. This is uncomfortable for people, but this we need to be taught our way of life, on how we're supposed to do things. All right, so I think okay, I should go to Deuteronomy 24, verse 1 through 9. No, I think. Yeah, I should. I think I should have read this earlier. It's fine. In Deuteronomy 24, verse 1 through 9, I have read 10 through 22 earlier. It reads, when a man takes a wife and shall marry her, then it shall be if she finds no favor in his eyes, because he has found a matter of uncoveredness in her, and he shall write her a certificate of divorce and puts it in her hand and send her out of his house. And if she left his house and went and became another man's wife, and the latter husband shall hate her and, and write her a certificate of divorce and put it in her hand and, and send her out of his house. And when the latter husband dies, who took her to be his wife, then her former husband who sent her away is not allowed to take her back to be his wife after she has been defiled, for that will be an abomination before Yah. And do not bring sin on the land which Yah your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. When a man has taken a new wife, let him not go out into the army, nor let any matter be imposed upon him. He shall be exempt 1 year for the sake of his house, to rejoice with his wife, whom he has taken. No one takes in pledge the lower or the upper milestone. The upper millstone. For he will be taking a life in pledge. When a man is found kidnapping any of his brothers or the children of the children of Israel, and treats him harshly or sells him, then that kidnapper shall die. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. Take heed in an outbreak of leprosy to diligently guard and do according to all that the priests, the Levites, teach you, as I have commanded them. So you shall guard to do. Remember what Yah your Elohim did to Miriam on the way which you came out of Mizraim. Hallelujah. So it's telling you right here, when the man takes his wife He got married, and then she finds no favor in his eyes because he has found a method of uncovering it in her, and he shall write a certificate of divorce and put it in her hand and send her out of his house. Okay, so and went and became another man's wife. When she, and she left his house and went and became another man's wife. And the latter husband shall hate her and write her a certificate of divorce and put it in her hand and send her out of his house. Or when the latter husband dies, who took her to be his wife, then her former husband who sent her away is not allowed to take her back to be his wife after she has been defiled, for that would be an abomination before Yah, and do not bring sin on the land which Yah your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. So it's telling you right here how things should be done. There's a way to do things. Even tells you if a man takes a new wife, let him not go out into the army, nor let any man be imposed upon him. He shall be exempt 1 year for the sake of his house to rejoice with his wife whom he has taken. So it's just telling you how things supposed to be now. But unfortunately, that's this not being we're not being taught these things on how we on what we're supposed to be doing. But this is deep right here. Some deep stuff right here. Ooh, that's deep right there. Let's see. Let's see. Did I go over this on the first part with the? Let's see. I think I might have. Let's see. Hopefully, I'm remember correctly. Go over this. Just in case I didn't, let's go to Numbers 15, verse 37 to 41. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them to make tzitzit on the corners of their garment throughout their generation, and to put a blue cord in the tzitzit of the corner, and it shall be to you for a tzitzit, and you shall see it, and shall remember all the commands of Yah, and shall do them, and not search after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you went forward, so that you remember and shall do all my commands and be set up. Oh, excuse me. So in verse 40, so that you remember and shall do all my commands and be set apart until your Elohim. I am Yah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim to be your Elohim. I am Yah your Elohim. Hallelujah. So these zitzits right here that I wear now, you let's see. You this is tell you right here. Okay. How this is what I wear now. The zits is right here. Has to be keeping. Purpose is for us to remember and shall do his commands. His commandments. That's the purpose of these right here. You should not. I don't think it is meant for you just to have these on, but you are not doing his commandments. You're not sincere about keeping his law. But just to show you, this is what these are for. So yeah, but this is our way of life. Now. We need to be taught this. I'm, I'm not sure that if I had went over it. I wondered, did I go over this the first part? I don't remember if I had. Let's see. Let's get. Let's see. Yeah, we can definitely get into some things in the video. All right. Where do I want to go to? Oh, first thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go. Hmm. All right. Let's see. Did I go over this before? Well, actually, yeah, I think I have. Though. I wondered did I do it in the first part? Probably not. Let's go to Leviticus 3:17. Let's go through that first. It's said and it reads, an everlasting law throughout your generation in all your dwellings, you do not eat any fat or any blood. Hallelujah. Those tells us we're not supposed to eat fat or blood in the in basically in the meats that we eat. We're not supposed to be eating fat or blood. That is a sin when we do that. I don't know why you want to do that anyway, because it's nasty though that you would do that. This is disgusting. Okay. Yeah, just to show you this though. This is about our way of life. Most High Yah is not playing with. All right, let's see the next question. Goes Syria 20. Okay, I think I have went over. Yeah, I think I may have went over this before. Yeah, let's. All right, so Leviticus 5 now. Let's see. I might read the whole chapter. I might also read 6 as well. All right, so Leviticus 5, starting at verse 1. Let's see. Do I want to start there first? All right, maybe maybe let's go back to Leviticus 4 first. I'm gonna get back to 5. Let's see how much do I. So in Leviticus 4, verse starting at verse 1. Let's see. Mhm. Okay, in Leviticus 4, verse 1 through 20. I think that's good enough. You could definitely read the whole chapter on your own time. In Leviticus 4, verse starting at verse 1, it says, And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, When a being sins by mistake against any of the commands of Yah, which are not to be done, and shall do any of them. If the appointed priest sins, bringing guilt on the people, then he shall bring to Yah for his sin, which he has sinned, a young bull, a perfect one, as a sin offering. And he shall bring the bull to the door of the tent of appointment before Yah, and shall lay his hand on the bull's head, and slay the bull before Yah. And the anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood and bring it to the tent of appointment. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle some of the blood 7 times before Yah in front of the veil of the set apart place. And the priest shall put some of the blood on the horns of the slaughter place, a sweet incense before Yah, which is in the tent of appointment, and pour all the blood of the bull at the base of the slaughter place of the of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. And he takes all the fat of the bull as the sin offering, the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat which is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them by the loins, in the appendage on the liver, which he removes with the kidney, as it was taken from the bull of the slaughtering of peace offering. And the priest shall burn them on the slaughter place of the burnt offering. But the skin of the bull and all its flesh, with its head and legs, its entrails and dove, all of the bull he shall bring outside the camp to a clean place where the ashes are poured out, and burn it on wood with fire. When the ashes are poured out, it is burned. And if the entire congregation of Israel strays by mistake, and the matter has been hidden from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done against any of the commands of Yah, which are not to be done, it shall be guilty. When the sin which they have sinned becomes known, then the assembly shall bring a young bull for the sin, and bring it before the tent of appointment. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their heads on the head of the bull before Yah, and the bull shall be slain before Yah. And the appointed priest shall bring some of the bull's blood to the tent of appointment, and the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before Yah in front of the veil, and put some of the blood on the horns of the slaughter place, which is before Yah, which is in the tent of appointment, and pour all the blood at the base of the slaughter place of burnt offering, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. Then he takes all the fat from it and shall burn it on the slaughter place. And he shall do with the bull as he did with the bull as a sin offering. So shall he do it, and the priest shall make atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them. Hallelujah. Yeah, I could read the rest though. I just wanted to kind of make a point. Just kind of wanted to show you that this is what if we were in our land, this is what we would have needed to go through. you will need to do that if a person has sinned by mistake. This is how much mistake here, not presumptuous, because presumptuous, you would have been put to death in the land. But this is just showing you, orchard, we're not in our land, so we don't have these things. But we still want to confess stuff, and we still want to confess, and we definitely want to still ask forgiveness stuff for whatever sins that we commit against the Most High. Yeah, we don't want to just be nonchalant about it and be like, oh well, I did it. I know I didn't know. I'm like, oh well, no. You want to confess it, because you don't want to play with the Most High. Yeah. All right, so let's go to Leviticus 5 now, and starting at verse 1. And it reads, when a being sins in that he has heard the voice of swearing, and is a witness, or has seen, or has known, but does not reveal it, he shall bear his wickedness. Or when a being touches any unclean matter, or the carcass of any unclean beast, or the carcass of unclean livestock, or the carcass of unclean creeping creatures, and it has been hidden from him, he is unclean and guilty. Or when he touches uncleanness of man, any of his uncleanness by which he is unclean, and it has been hidden from him, when he shall know it, then he shall be guilty. Or when a being swears, speaking rashly with his lips, to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that a man swears rashly with an oath, and it has been hidden from him, when he shall know it, then he shall be guilty of one of these. And it shall be, when he is guilty of one of these, that he shall confess that in which he has sinned. Okay, so to stop right there, with verse 1. It's telling you, right? It's telling you in verse 1 that we are supposed to. This right here is an example of how we are supposed to warn our brothers and sisters when they are in the midst of sin. Just what I read right here. We're supposed to warn our brothers and sisters when they're in the midst of sin. You can't just act like, well, just because I didn't do it. No, it doesn't. I don't have to do this. I don't have to warn just because I didn't do it. No, this is saying nothing. So in verse 6, it says, it shall bring his guilt offering to Yah for his sin which he has sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a female goat as a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin. And if he is unable to bring a lamb, then he shall bring to Yah he who has sinned 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And he shall bring them to the priest, who shall bring near that which is for the sin offering first, and nip off its head from its neck, but not silver, but not silver, silver it. And he shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the slaughter place, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the slaughter place. It is a sin offering. And he shall prepare the second as a burnt offering according to the right rule. And the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin which he has sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. But if he is unable to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he who sins shall bring for his offering 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. He puts no oil on it, nor does he put any frankincense on it, for it is a sin offering. And he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his hand filled with it as the remembrance portion, and burn it on the slaughter place according to the offerings made by fire to Yah. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin that he has sinned in any of these, and it shall be forgiven him. And it shall be the priest like a grain offering. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, when a being commits a trespass and has sinned by mistake against the set apart matters of Yah, then he shall bring to Yah as his guilt offering a ram, a perfect one, from the flock, with your valuation in shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the set apart place, as a guilt offering. And he shall make good for the sin that he has done against that which is set apart, and shall add 1/5 to it, and give it to the priest. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And when any being sins and has done which is not to be done against any of the commands of Yah, though he knew it not, yet he shall be guilty and shall bear his wickedness. Then he shall bring to the priest a ram, a perfect one, from the flock, with your valuation, as a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for his mistake he committed unintentionally, though he did not know it, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a guilt offering. He was truly guilty before Yah. Oh, yeah. This is if we were in our land, but showing that how it will be done if we were to sin against the Most High Yah unknowingly, not presumptuous. It's important that we We continue to work within ourselves. You don't want the Most High Yah punishing us. We definitely don't want. We do not want to be presumptuous of sin. You don't want to stay in purity. Now, yeah, this is our way of life. All right, so also we read Leviticus chapter 6, verse 1 through 7. Now, I think that's good enough for this. And of course, if those who want to, you can read the whole chapter though, if you want to. In Leviticus chapter 6, starting at verse 1. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, when any being sins and committed a trespass against Yah, and has lied to his neighbor about a deposit or about a pledge or about a robbery, or shall extort from his neighbor, or has found what was lost and has lied concerning it, or did swear falsely, so that he sins in regard to any one of all these that a man does, then it shall be when he sins, it shall be guilty, that he shall return what he took by robbery, or what he has extorted, or the deposit which was deposited with him, or the lost item which he found, or all that about which he swore falsely. He shall repay its total value, add 1/5 more to it, and give it to whom it belongs on the day of his guilt offering. Then he brings his guilt offering to Yah, a ram, a perfect one, from the flock, with your valuation, as a guilt offering to the priest. And the priest shall make atonement for him before Yah, and he shall be forgiven for whatever he did that made him guilty. Hallelujah. It's going to show you how it's supposed to be when we do these things. Because this stuff does, it happens out. But this is showing you that what's supposed to happen when you do think when you do things that is against the most high. Yeah. Unlike this world now. We does not teach this now how it's supposed to be. Yeah, when people steal now, yeah, you go, they take you to jail. I mean, matter of fact, they steal you long sentences, but still, which is not the way of Yah. You tell them they are supposed to return it and also pay extra according to how the Bible says. That's our way of life. The world's way of life is sentenced to years in prison. Now, that is not the way of Yah. It's amazing to me how what's supposed to happen now is not happening in this world. The world's doing the opposite. Just to bring that in. All right, let's see. We still got quite a bit left. Let's see, can I get it all done to where I think I need to get done? All right, so we have Exodus 21. Did I go there? Let's see. Did I go there the first part? For some reason I don't remember. I don't remember going. Yeah, on the first part. I'm trying to see. I gotta think about it. Huh. Okay. All right. Let's go to Exodus 21. You can do the whole chapter for this, and then I think 22 next. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go. All right. So Exodus 21, and it reads, "These are the right rulings which you are to set before him. When you buy a Hebrew servant, he serves 6 years, and in the seventh he goes out free for now." This is so. Just to stop right there. This is how it is supposed to be. But unfortunately, in this world, people have not. People do not let people go free on the 7 year of working. In when the 7 year comes, so he's supposed to go out free. Though that's what this. But we need to be taught this because this is our way of life, on how things are supposed to be done. In verse 3, if he comes in by himself, he goes out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children are her master's, and he goes out by himself. And if the servant truly says, "I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go out free," then his master shall bring him before Elohim, and shall bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. Okay, yeah, that's this thing. Okay. So we just, I guess it depends on the situation. Okay, so in verse 7, and when a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she does not go out as the male servants do. If she is displeasing in the eyes of her master, who has engaged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people because of him deceiving her. And if he has engaged her to his son, he is to do to her as it is right of daughter, as is the right of daughter. If he takes another wife, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are not to be diminished. And if he does not do these three for her, then she shall go out for naught without silver. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim deliver him into his hand, then I shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee. But when a man acts presumptuously against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you are to take him even from his slaughter place to die. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And when man strives together, and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die, but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be innocent. He only pays for lost time and sees to it that he is completely healed. And when a man strikes his male or female servant with a rod so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be punished. But if he remains alive a day or two, he is not punished, for he is his prophet. Mm, it's interesting. And when men strive, and they shall smite a pregnant woman, and their children come out, yet there is no injury, he shall certainly be punished accordingly as the woman's husband lays upon him, and he shall give through the judges. But if there is injury, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, lash for lash. And when a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he is to let him go free for the sake of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he is to let him go free for the sake of his tooth. And when an ox grows a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall certainly be stoned, and its flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. Hmm, it's interesting. So it'll go to show you that even animals can be put to death as well. Though, if you didn't know that even that even animals have consequences. However, if the ox was was previously in the habit of growing of growing, and this owner has been warned, and he has not kept it confirmed, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox is stoned, and its owner also is put to death. Mm, not a joke. If a sin covering is laid upon him, then he shall give the ransom of his life, whatever is laid on him. Rather, it has grown a son or grown a daughter. According to this right ruling, it is done to him. If the ox gores a male or female servant, he is to give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox is stoned. And when a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit is to repay. He is to give silver to their owner, and the dead beast is his. And when the ox or a man smites the ox of his neighbor and it dies, and they shall sell the live ox and divide the silver from it, and also divide the dead ox. Or if it was known that the ox was previously in the habit of growth, and this owner has not kept it confirmed, he shall certainly repay ox for ox, while the dead beast is his. Hallelujah. So go, these are the laws of when a man has a male female servant from the beginning. And even talked about of animals now, as you heard. What happens when things are not done like it should. It would in just situations if these things would happen. All right, right there. All right. Ooh, wait. This is some serious stuff right there. Most of y'all is not playing. This is our way of life right here. And I still got quite a bit left. I might end up having to do a part three on this. Let's see. I think I have a few scriptures left though. I want to go over them. I'm trying to see how many scripts, how much more do I have left? Finished. I still got quite a bit left. All right. So the next place is Exodus 22, the whole chapter. And it reads, when a man sells an ox or a sheep and shall slaughter it or sell it, He repays 5 cattle for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If the thief is found breaking in and he is stuck so that he dies, there is no guilt for his bloodshed. If the sun has risen on him, there is guilt for his bloodshed. He shall certainly repay. If he has not the means, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the thief is indeed found alive in his hand, rather it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he repays double. When a man lets a field or vineyard be gazed bare and lets loose his livestock, and it feeds in another man's field, he repays from the beast of his own field and the beast of his own vineyard. When fire breaks out and spreads the thorn bushes, so that staff grain or standing grain or the field is consumed, he who kindled the fire shall certainly repay. When a man gives silver or goods to his neighbor to guard, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he repays double. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought before Elohim to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. For every matter of transgression, for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for garment, or for whatever is lost, which another claims to be his, lest the matter of them both come before Elohim, and whoever Elohim declares wicked repays double to his neighbor. When a man gives to his neighbor a donkey or ox or sheep or any beast to watch over, and it dies or is injured or is driven away while no one is looking, let an oath of Yah be between them both, that he has not put his hand into his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept that, and he does not repay. But if it is indeed stolen from him, he repays to its owner. If it is torn to pieces, then let him bring it for evidence. He does not repay what was torn. And when a man borrows from his neighbor and it is injured or dies, while the owner of it is not present, he shall certainly repay. But if its owner was with it, he does not repay. If it was hired, he is entitled to the hire. And when a man entices a maiden who is not engaged and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he pays according to the bride price of maiden. Do not allow a practicer of witchcraft to live. Anyone lying with a beast shall certainly be put to death. He who slaughters to an Elohim, except to Yah only, is put under the ban. Do not tread down a sojourner or oppress him, for you are sojourners in the land of Mizraim. Do not afflict any widow or fatherless child, If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry, and my wrath shall burn, and I shall kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If you do lend silver to any of my people, the poor among you, you are not to like you are not to be like one that lends on interest to him. Do not lay interest on him. If you take your neighbor's garment as a pledge at all, you are to return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is his only covering. It is his garment for his skin. What the what does he sleep in? And it shall be that when he cries to me, I shall hear, for I show favor. Do not revile in Elohim, nor curse a ruler of your people. Do not delay giving your harvest and your vintage. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Likewise, you are to do with your oxen, with your sheep. It is to be with its mother 7 days. On the eighth day, you give it to me, and you are set apart men to me, and you do not eat any meat which is torn to pieces in the field. You throw it to the dogs. Oh, yeah. So, go to show you, this is what how this is our way of life. This is how things are supposed to be. Yeah, y'all's not playing with us though. We gotta get us. We definitely to let you know we got this is what we understand of our way of life though, and how serious this is. So this world does not teach us our way of life though, and that this is what is gonna save our lives though. If we follow it now, if we actually keep it as command. Some serious stuff right here. Let's see. There's, there's quite a bit left. You know, there's still some things left. All right. We got plenty of scriptures. I'm gonna think I'm gonna do. Let's see, how many scriptures do I want? Maybe three more, maybe before I end this. All right, let's see. All right. All right. So Ezekiel 3. Okay. Starting at verse 17. Well, actually, let's start at verse 16, actually. Verse 16 through 27. Okay. And it reads, and it came to be at the end of 7 days that the word of Yah came to me, saying, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and shall warn them from me. When I say to the wicked, you shall certainly die, and you have not warned him, nor spoken to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life. That same wicked man shall die in his wickedness, in this blood I require at your hand. But if you have warned the wicked, and he does not turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his wickedness, and you have delivered your being. And when a righteous one turns from his righteousness and shall do unrighteousness, when I have put a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because you did not warn him. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done is not remembered. In his blood I require at your hand. But if you have warned the righteous one that the righteous shall not sin, and he did not sin, he shall certainly live, because he has been warned, and you have delivered your being. And the hand of Yah came upon me there, and he said to me, Arise, go out into the plain, so that I might speak to you there. So I go up and went out into the plain, and see, the esteem of Yah stood there, like the esteem which I saw by the river Kabal. And I fell on my face, and the Spirit entered me and set me on my feet, and spoke with me, and said to me, Go, shut yourself inside your house. And you, O son of man, see, they shall put cords on you and bind you with them, so that you do not go out into their midst. Go out in their midst. And I shall make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth, so that you shall be dumb and not be a reprover to them, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak with you, I open your mouth, and you shall say to them, Thus said the Master Yah. He who hears, let him hear, and he who refuses, let him refuse, for they are a rebellious house. Hallelujah. yeah. So this right here, this is why we should warn our brothers and sisters when they are in the midst of sin. This is the reason why right here, because what the Bible says. It is up to them if they change. Yeah, y'all see how serious this is. This is why right here. This is why we are to warn. This is why I. This is why we all of us that this is why for those of us who are really serious about the Most High, yeah, try to warn our brothers and sisters who may not know, may not have the understanding. And even those that do know, we still try to warn. This is why right here, because of what the Bible says. Because this is not no place where it's out to control people. This is about our life right here. That's what this is about. All right. Ooh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, wait. All right. So let's see. Hmm. Ezekiel 18. I want to go through this next. I might save it for the next part, to be honest. Because I think I'm gonna do part three. There's gonna be a part three to this. So, and I think part three will probably be the last part to this stuff. All right, so but I'll go to it to Ezekiel 18 probably. Yeah, I will on the third part when I come back. The next place is Leviticus 12 in the whole chapter. This is a short chapter, but I'm gonna go over this. And it reads, and Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a woman has conceived and has given birth to a male child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, as in the days of her monthly separation. She is unclean. And on the 8th day, the flesh of its foreskin is circumcised, and she remains in the blood of her cleansing 33 days. She does not touch whatever is set apart, and she does not come into the set apart place until the days of her cleansing are completed. But if she gives birth to a female child, then she shall be unclean for 2 weeks, as in her monthly separation, and she remains in the blood of her cleansing for 66 days. And when the days of her cleansing are completed, for a son or for a daughter, she brings to the priest a lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, in a in a in a young pigeon or a turtle dove as a sin offering, to the door of the tent of appointment. And he shall bring it before Yah and make atonement for her, and shall be cleansed from the flow of her blood. This is the Torah for her who has given birth to a male or a female. And if she is not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one as the burnt offering and the other as a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for her, and she shall be clean. Hallelujah. So, as I had went over on my video, clean and unclean laws, so, which I had talked about. This is the law for a woman who is pregnant, rather be a male or female child, in the days that she is unclean. Yeah, I have went over. I have went over this before in the name of the title was the clean and unclean laws, which is our way of life. Let's see. Do I want to go to any more scriptures, or do we want to let that one be the last? We have a lot. We have some more to go over. Oh yeah, I'm gonna let that be the last one, and I will be going to Leviticus 13 and 14 and 15. I know I will go there for part 3. So I'm gonna end this here though. Before I go though, you are welcome to anybody has any questions on what we have been talking about. You are welcome to ask them. And most important is important. Do your research. Don't just take any man's word, not my word, nobody else's word. Go and do your research for yourself. Read and research for yourself. Any questions you are welcome to ask. Just to keep in mind now, and it is not always a guarantee I'm able to answer. And we just continue to work on ourselves. So hopefully we have learned learned something now from what I had talked about now. Also, as I continue to learn and grow. So I will be doing part three. Yeah, I will be doing part three now. Would that be rather be if it's not if it's not next week now, it may be the next week now. Yeah, I will be doing. I will be just talking going on part three. So I hope we learned something. I hope that we work on ourselves though, no longer learning the ways in this world, that we can get back and return to our Creator, yeah, our Elohim. And I say Shalom.